Alrighty, yo, what is going on, everybody? It's your boy, Mr. DDG94 here, and we are sad. We have to lay to rest. The goddamn football league, the National Football League, is being laid to rest today because they have basically just eliminated defense from the game. Defense no longer exists. The only positions that matter on defense is your cornerbacks and your safeties. Nothing else matters. This is the dumbest decision the NFL could have made. The dumbest decision the NFL could have made. They literally just got rid of the hip tackle. So obviously you can't hit him in the neck. Obviously you can't hit him in the lower extremities. That's understandable. But from the pectoral area to the waist, I feel like that's a good area, right? The NFL was like, nah. So my question now is, what is the defender supposed to do now? They basically can no longer tackle. We are basically, bro, if at this point, we might as well just turn it into the flag football at this point. We might as well just turn it into flag football. They literally just eliminated tackling as a whole, bro. You basically can no longer grab a player from the hip and put your weight down on them. Dog, what is the defender supposed to do? This used to be a man sport. Now, I'm not saying we got to go out here and drop kick a nigga or clothesline a nigga or do some WWE move on a nigga, hit a nigga below the waist and hit a nigga in his knee and tear his ACL. And now he out for the rest of the season. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying though, what else is there on the body to hit? This is stupid. Now you can't grab a nigga by the waist to bring him down. What the fuck else are we supposed? If the defender can't grab the player by the waist, then shouldn't it be fair to eliminate stiff arms? Wouldn't that be fair? If you're gonna take something away from the defender, at least have the decency to take something away from the offensive player. That way it's fair game. So if they can't grab a motherfucker by the waist and bring him down, then the offensive player shouldn't have the ability to stiff arm. Meaning they're either going to have to truck their way through or they're going to have to get the juking in this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? That's the only way you can get out of this. But no, the offensive player has way more power than the defensive player does. There is nothing the defensive player can do at this point. The only positions that matter is the cornerback and the free safety, because basically only thing you can do on defense is basically try to get an interception. But if that's the case, watch how the running back, now I can see this as a good thing for running backs because this will help the running backs become more of value. I do understand that what the NFL is trying to do, they're trying to help the running backs become more valuable again, but this is not the way to do it. You have basically just eliminated defense as a whole. So what is the lineman for? What is the linebackers for? You know what I'm saying? What are they supposed to do now? What, you just want them to push them really hard? What the fuck is that gonna do? These are grown ass men. Grown ass men. Come on, dog. Come on, man.
Come on now, dog. Come on, man.
Man, this is some bullshit. Who's this man?
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
John in Tennessee, go ahead. What you want to say?
That shit is fucking trash, dog. Get the fuck off the airwaves.
Oh, come on.
Hear me and hear me good, nigga. I'm here to double down. That shit is a 2-pack of ass. The fuck are you talking about? That shit stinks.
Come on now, dog. Come on, son. What is we doing here? What is we doing here, man? The NFL, I don't get it. The NFL has basically just ruined themselves. I guarantee you. I hope this is just a 1 year thing. If this is a 1 year thing and they revert back to the old ways of tackling, that would be perfectly fine. Because they're going to fuck around and find out. Watch how this is going to ruin the NFL. Nobody's going to want to show up to the games. Nobody's going to be watching. I guarantee you, the first couple of games of the season, the first couple of weeks of the season, people are going to turn away from this shit because this is no longer the NFL we grew up with. Like I said, we don't need motherfuckers clotheslining motherfuckers, jumping over and hitting motherfuckers with the clothesline of hell from JBL. We don't need all that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that a motherfucker got a power bomb a motherfucker, suplex a motherfucker, DDT a motherfucker, drop kick a motherfucker. We not saying that, but damn, what can the defender do, bro? The best part, the thing that makes the NFL so great is the defense. Seeing a motherfucker get hit, that's the best fucking part of the game. That's why it's so fucking entertaining. And the NFL, for some odd reason, has I don't know what it is. I understand that they're trying to protect the players, but dude, the defense is what makes the NFL so good. And this is why the NFL has been shit for the past couple of years, because these rule changes are not benefiting the defense and it's only benefiting the offense. Yes, we're getting quarterbacks yes, we have games up in the fucking 40s and 50s. Shit, last year we saw the Dolphins destroy. We saw the Dolphins blow out the goddamn Denver Broncos by damn near like I believe by 70 points. It's crazy, but at the same time, it's like, yo, where is the balance? There's no longer balance. You literally just took defense away, man. And I'm sorry that I'm going on this 7-minute rant, but I just gotta say this, bro. This used to be a man's sport. This is a pussy ass sport now. The NFL has become pussy, bro. And it's not the players' fault. I'm not saying the players are pussy. I'm saying the people that are changing these rules is making this game pussy, not the players. The players, they ain't got no choice. They signed the contract. I understand. It's not the players' fault. It's the people that's running the shit fault. Okay? They're the ones that's making this game pussy. But anyways, though, we're going to get into this video with my boy Chisel Adonis. Let's get right into it.
Alright, so boom, as y'all saw in the media, the news has just been broken. The gavel has been slammed and the NFL is banning the hip drop tackle from the game of football. Not that the hip drop tackle was ever some sort of technique that defenders had to use in order to get people down. It's just an option that they had to go and make tackles. In fact, I'm pretty sure they had to define this as a hip drop tackle when they came through with the thought process of having to ban this particular technique that they claim it just so happens to be. So if a defender happens to wrap their arms around a ball carrier or happen to have them both held by both their arms, then proceeds to unweight themselves and drop all of their weight onto the lower extremity of the ball carrier, they will not only be flagged for 15 yards, they'll also be hit with a subsequent fine at the conclusion of the game. And I don't like it. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm all for player safety. I'm not saying go back to the days of Dick Night Train Lane and freaking clothesline people from the neck with a lariat that JBL would approve.
I just
However,
said this.
at what point are we going to allow defenders to play defense? It's starting to get ridiculous.
Facts.
Throughout the entirety of this millennium, since 2000, only thing we've done is made it more and more and more difficult for defenders to play defense. Because
Facts.
I just want you to think about this for a second. Consider what we do. We'll utilize quarterbacks here. How hard is it to sack a quarterback now? Incredibly difficult, because you can't hit a quarterback low, can't hit them high. If you do hit them, you got to make sure you don't put your weight on top of them.
Which is
We've had
stupid.
numerous different moments in which there was incidental contact from the helmet to the quarterback's helmet just because somebody may have lowered their head. Oh, I should say the quarterback may have lowered their head when the defender is coming in, and they've been flagged for that. Now, take a look at what we've done with ball carriers. Of course, the horse collar is something that's been flagged for years, and
Facts.
nobody's
The horse
complaining
collar
about
is
that because
definitely
the
illegal.
probability of a horse collar tackle is not as common as most people would like to believe the hip drop tackle just so happens to be. However, let's really consider from a defensive perspective what happens in a gang tackling situation. Because how many times have you seen like a Najee Harris, a Derrick Henry, a Nick Chubb, those bigger backs who's able to break through tackles and run individuals over? How many times have you seen defenders have to gang up to take that person down? Are we going to end up seeing hip drop tackle flags in those scenarios? Or is it only going to be on one-on-one situations? Because what is gang tackling? One defender is struggling to take somebody down, and then their teammates come around, and what's the best method to get the person down? You pull them backwards. What's the easiest way to pull somebody backwards? Wrap your arms, drop your body, the other person can't move anymore. Of course, the defenders is not deliberately trying to put their body on somebody's lower extremities, but it's starting to get out of hand now. Defenders can't do nothing. But for whatever reason, why is the chop block still legal on offense? If we're talking about, injuries that have been sustained, don't get me wrong, Mark Andrews, Kenyon Drake a couple of years back, and countless different ball carriers throughout the history of the NFL, you're warranted to have your concerns about this hip drop tackle still being legal. And now you can celebrate and be like, hey, we're getting this out the game. But from a defender's perspective, what do you want them to do? Because if I'm struggling to tackle somebody head up, one-on-one, you can't sit there and be like, well, you just got to play better at football. Sometimes there are unfair advantages.
Yes.
If you see Derrick Henry break into the secondary, and then you have a cornerback who's getting off of a block, and now I got to go and try to hawk somebody down, not everybody's a Brian Dawkins, Weapon X, freaking fly through the air like Wolverine and then take somebody down just off the strength of their success in the weight room. Sometimes it's going to take some effort to get that person down, and you might just have to get dragged a couple of yards, then you can drop your weight and take them out. So what happens now? We're going to see a ton of DBs, and truly, there are going to be some linebackers too getting drugged across the damn gridiron. And you know what's crazy? Those plays are going to end up on SportsCenter Top 10. Those plays are going to get plastered all over social media. Those plays are going to get revered by the populace because we're going to be on some, wow, look at the running backs run. Look at that wide receiver break those tackle and drag those defenders because the defender can't take them down. Then, here's another element that people are overlooking. How often do you think they're going to throw this flag? The NFL is claiming they're going to try to set it up the same way and have it reviewed, not necessarily reviewed, like they'll go to the booth to see if it's like a targeting, but they're going to try to, judge it the same way they do helmet to helmet. But how often do they throw the flag for helmet to helmet? And how often do you have a situation to where the helmet to helmet happens in football as often as a hip drop tackle will happen? Every single play where you have a running back run through the A gap, B gap, and they run into a gang of defenders, how many times have we seen a defender take somebody down by way of having to drop their weight? So what's going to happen? An increase in flags galore throughout the entire year.
Facts.
And what happens there? You move offensives down the field even faster. You now have offenses score more points than ever. And defense is pretty much not even going to be allowed on the field. It's starting to get ridiculous. Like, don't get me wrong. There's ways in which you could play great defense without going against the rules. But now we've got defenders having to play the game of football handicapped. Arms handcuffed behind their back. You got J.J. Watt, Richard Sherman having to go and take to social media to defend the defense. Of course, I understand the perspective from the offensive players, but let's call a spade a spade. You don't see the offense being limited like the defense is being limited with all these rule changes. It's
Facts.
just not happening.
It's not.
Who in their right mind, growing up in this generation, wants to play defense? The children all want to be offensive players because that's where the big stardom is. And moreover, the rules are curated towards them. Everything is about offense, 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 offense. It's getting ridiculous. And truly, in my opinion, I think this rule change will only last about a year to 2 years max. I think it's going to be very similar to what we saw with the challenging of pass interference. It lasted one season and then they got rid of it. I anticipate this only lasting 1 to 2 seasons because the referees are going to have to constantly throw the flag, because I promise you, ball carriers will be bitching about this person dropped their weight, this person dropped their weight. And furthermore, here's another question, because when I was reading a couple of articles on the change of the rule, I didn't see anything regarding ejections. So if one player continues to be penalized for dropping their hips, are we going to end up seeing some sort of suspension situation? Ejection situation? Because we've already have a problem with this helmet to helmet with the fines. Because remember, after games, the NFL, even if certain things weren't flagged, we seen it last year on offense and on defense, where players ended up getting fined for helmet to helmet contact at the conclusion of the game. So does that mean the NFL's also going to keep reviewing game footage to see if somebody actually did violate the rule and was not flagged for it, and then you're going to fine people? They're stealing money. You could just leave it at a 15-yard penalty. If you're now fining people as well, you're going to have people legitimately, defenders, having business decisions on the field to let somebody score a touchdown or break off an incredibly long run or catch and run so they don't lose out on money. The fans don't understand now. But wait until the games are played and you're going to see it at scale. This is a terrible decision. It's a terrible decision, and it's going to come back to bite the NFL in the ass. Here's the last thing I'm going to say about it. Again, I'm not somebody who's against player safety. I'm not saying bring back the Dick Night Train Lane freaking horse collar, or well, not horse collar, but the Night Train necktie and all this other stuff. Don't bring out Stan Hansen and JBL with the lariat clothesline from hell. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying Deacon Jones or freaking Joe Green slap people against the side of the helmet. I'm not saying that. But there comes a point to where you have to look at football players and have them understand there is a risk in the game that you play. This is a collision sport. I'm not saying go out there and anticipate tearing an ACL or tearing an Achilles or breaking your femur or shattering your goddamn tibia. I'm not saying that. But you've got to understand the risk and the brutality and the consequence that comes with playing football. Injuries are a part of the game. Unless you have somebody who's incredibly dirty, who takes the field, who's intentionally trying to hurt you, more often than not, the defenders are simply trying to just make it to the next play by stopping you from advancing.
Back.
And at what point are we truly going to sit here and say intent is what truly should be on the marquee? If there's a situation in a game to where there's such a deliberate drop of the hips to where it appears that somebody was intentionally trying to hurt somebody, if you want to flag somebody for that, cool. Similar to what they attempt to do with targeting in college football, and now since when they elevated it to the pro game to where if there's a helmet to helmet that appears to be so egregious, you get ejected. That's something that I can understand, but I can guarantee you this is going to backfire, because every other play, numerous times on the same possession, you're going to see flag after flag after flag after flag after flag. I think the first 4 weeks of this season is going to be the worst watch of football from a fan perspective and the players on the field, because the refs are not going to know how to call this. I don't think it's a good decision. Y'all let me know in the comment section what y'all think, because truly I believe football should be played the way football is intended to be played. I'm not saying that you shouldn't look out for the health of the players, but there comes a point to where we've got to start calling a spade a spade. Y'all literally only doing this because you want to see the offense continue to run up the score. Because why is it that offensive players can tuck their goddamn head and then try to run somebody else over, have helmet-to-helmet contact, and the percentage of the flags being thrown to back up an offense when something like that happens, incredibly small. Yes, they'll get a fine after the fact, but that doesn't take the W out of the win column if their team just so happens to win. Holding can be called damn near every single play. I promise you. Watch what happens to defenders. It's only a matter of time before they start increasing the fine or the yardage for illegal use of the hands or defensive holding or pass interference. And here's the last thing that I'm going to say. This has nothing to do with the hip drop, but this is primarily for the NFL officiating crew. Can we change pass interference to rather than being a spot foul, put the maximum at 15 yards? Because that doesn't make sense. How many times do we see drives go yards down the field off the back of somebody just saying, fuck it, somebody down there, a defender mess around and trip, or maybe they about to give up a touchdown and they tug on the receiver and all of a sudden you've got a 50-yard drive all because of a flag. How about we start really being practical? I don't like the call. Y'all let me know in the comment section what you think about this hip drop tackle, banishment, and we'll move forward from there. Oh, and one more thing. Can we stop going on Twitter and having fans argue with NFL players? People coming at J.J. Watt and Richard Sherman on Twitter talking about y'all bitching and moaning. Oh, when you just play the game, you get paid millions. Fam, they play the game at the highest level. If there's anybody who has the credentials, moreover, the authority to complain about rules, it's people who played. Sometimes the fans should sit out the conversation and listen objectively. And I recognize this could be a bit of, cognitive dissonance, given that I too am a fan. I'm not a player. I recognize that. Yes, there could be, catch-22 in what it is that I'm saying. But sometimes the fans should not be going at the players as it pertains to the, change of the rule. Let the players have their conversation and we can, talk and debunk based on what it is that they say. But one way or another, let me know what you guys think in the comment section. But me personally, I don't like it.
You mean to tell me you watched the entire video, but you
Nah, and I agree with everything Chisel said. And another thing, too, that I'm hoping for with these first 4 weeks of the season, I hope all defensive players continue to drop their hips. I hope that happens. I hope that every player decides to break this rule, to take a stand and say, we're not going for this rule, revert it back, or we're just going to keep doing it over and over and over again every fucking game. We will ruin every single game if it means that this is ridiculous. We will ruin every single game until you revert the rule back to what it was originally. Revert the rule so that way we can play the game. That's what I think the defenders should do. That's the only way that's really the only way you can defeat it, destroy the product. If the product is being fucked up, eventually what's going to have to happen is they're going to have to sit down and be like, they fucking up the product, man. We can't just find them all because then they just going to keep doing it anyway. It's like, well, shit, you know what? Fuck it. If they want to drop, if they want to do that shit, then let them do it. What else can we do? They make the product. How else are we supposed to sell this product? That's the easiest way I can see them doing it. But anyways, though, let me know what y'all think down in the comment section below. I'll get back to you till then. Peace out.